Hello, everybody. I am very sorry for not uploading. Life's been a lot recently, and it's not bad, I guess. It's just a lot of stuff, and I guess it's good. Marami nangyayari sa band right now. A lot of gigs and a lot of projects, and I also have a real job now, or like a job, like a computer job, right? I've been really busy and I haven't really had the time. Actually, I do have the time. I've just been playing a lot of Risk of Rain. Recently, nararamdaman kong parang nagpa-fall off na ulit yung infatuation ko sa laro na yun. So, I might come back to making more videos. But anyways, what I wanted to talk about is that there's this sudden change. I've mentioned that ever since I got to the band, my life is flipped, right? From just chilling in my room where all of my social interactions basically start and end online. For the most part. Right now, it's basically my job to be looked at and to do small talk and to network with people I've never met before. And it's a huge change, and I do believe now I've gotten much better at it compared to when I was starting out. But I've already talked about that part of my life in a couple of other videos. So that's not the topic of this video. What it is about is how I perceive myself, my perception of myself. I don't know if you guys noticed, I have a new camera. It's higher definition, it's a lot more narrow, but I like it. It doesn't look as good on Discord though, but I do like how it looks here. But yeah, let me get a little more comfy. I don't think you guys can see, but my feet are up here. Yeah, I have a job now, so I can afford stuff like this. This is a pretty expensive camera. That entire opening statement is only to explain why I am becoming a bit more insecure again, if you guys can tell by the title. I was insecure back then when I was like in high school. I think that was like my turning point when I met specific people. And then eventually I've come to terms with who I am and how I move, how my face looks and all of that, how my voice sounds as well. And that's largely thanks to my friends, and it always helps me whenever I see someone else being as weird as I am. It reassures me that I'm not that much of an outlier. I feel like that's why I've gravitated more to characters in movies and TV shows and video games that are a little bit weird, a little bit out of the ordinary, and they somehow accept who they are. I really like that sort of trope. Those types of characters and those types of friends that I mentioned earlier, these are the type of people that, makes me feel like, it's okay. I actually feel pretty cool that I am like this. And this happened around college-ish to pandemic. And it's also around the time when I started making videos and like writing songs too. It felt natural, and I didn't really feel the pressure of doing more, or rather looking better, I guess. And for most of my life, comfort and convenience has been my top priority, at least over aesthetic. I guess typical, diba? Like, chinelas, sando shorts, even like the pants that I wear. I used to have a pair that I wore a lot. I had like a pair of jogger pants. They're very comfortable. It's easier now too, because it seems like fashion is shifting towards comfort, at least for a time. I notice. If you've gone through this song and dance of overcoming insecurities, then why are you feeling insecure again, you may ask? Well, it's because a lot of eyes are on me now. I will say I've gotten more used to it than I was before, with having people look at me and having cameras pointed at me. I have gotten used to it, but it still feels a bit weird for me, especially when people tell me that I have to act and like look a certain way. You can't really avoid it, especially with the type of work that I do, the type of stuff that I do. I'm saying this na as if parang napakasikat ko, no? Na parang ang daming taong sumusubaybay sa akin. But no, even in like a smaller scale, it feels a bit weird. Kasi I have experienced this. I have had this, especially nung nag-stream ako. I'm live all of the time, and a lot of people will watch me, and I'm basically like, for show, nandun ako while playing video games and people talk to me. And I was comfortable with that, mainly because a lot of, or like not even a lot, most people that interact with me through those streams are people like me. They're like nerds and people who spend a lot of time on computers and actually use Discord. I guess it also comes into play the fact na it's in real life yung nangyayari sa akin ngayon. So a lot of people look at me in real life rather than just online. I guess there's a couple of stuff that I noticed that I guess I had to change, or I felt like I needed to change. I guess I'm a bit more conscious about them right now. Number one is movement. Talking about this like it's Apex, no? Or like bunny hopping in CS or Valorant. Okay, let me explain. Kita nyo may autofocus, no? Panis. Okay. Anyways, I'm not the typical big strong man, oozing with testosterone, at least yung mga nakikita mo sa movies. Not because I want to be different, but it's just that I am different, I guess. It feels so pick me, pero kasi I never really gravitated to that kind of aesthetic, and these are some of my favorite characters na nakikita ko in movies and I sort of like appreciate. And this has been the archetype that I gravitated to for as long as I can remember. And I don't know why I always really rooted for the, loser comes to terms with how they are and, achieves, gets the girl type of character. I enjoy the typical action film rin naman kapag, John Wick is a cool man, right? Mission Impossible, right? Like characters like that I also enjoy. Pero there's this special place in my heart for the Michael Cera's and the Peter Parkers of the film world, I don't know how to connect this, but I guess these characters never really cared to look cool. They just look cool to me because they seem to have gone through the stuff that I went through. I stopped caring about how I move a long time ago. As long as I wasn't a nuisance to the public, I was okay. And I didn't really care about what other people thought of me, as long as I had the respect of the people that I did care about. And I remember back in grade school, even up to high school, this was an issue that I had. And I guess I walked weird. I got picked to be a bachelor. I don't know. Pero parang Mr. Galaxy or I forgot our school's version of Mr. and Miss Universe. And I was chosen to be the guy na magfa-fashion walk and everything. I was very bad at it with how I walked. And I remember yung nagtuturo sa amin kung paano maglakad, naiinis na kasi anong oras na nasa school pa kami. Tuturuan niya ako maglakad. I do not know how to walk, and not gonna lie, that took a pretty okay toll, like a pretty big chunk of how I perceived myself and how I moved. At some point, as I mentioned, back in like college and like senior high school, I didn't really care at that point because I had people who I thought also moved weird, but they were happy, and I was like, okay, it's not just me. I'm okay. Okay, they're weird. I'm weird, so that's fine. I guess it's okay to be weird. And then everything changed when suddenly I had a lot of eyes on me. Suddenly every minuscule movement that I made mattered. More people would talk about how I walk and how I ran and how I stood, especially pag nasa stage ako or like photo shoots or like video shoots. Now more than ever, how I move matter the most. And I will say I've gotten much better with moving cool ever since napasok ako sa band, but it still isn't perfect, but it's not bad. I guess I'm just not used to being aware of how I move my arms and legs just so that I don't look like an idiot. I usually just move how I move because I move comfortable, I've actually considered doing sports or like taking dance lessons to maybe aid my flamboyant demeanor. I'm not a very husky man when I move, and I think people can tell. People have told me, and I guess I don't mind. It's like welcome feedback. At some point, it wasn't a problem anymore, and now it feels weird again because I actually care about it again. Number 2, fashion. As I mentioned earlier, comfort is my top priority. I didn't really care what I looked like as long as I was comfortable in my clothes, and I'd only ever care more whenever I was going out with my girlfriend. I would take a bit more time choosing what to wear because, I gotta impress the missus. Other than that, I didn't like taking my time choosing what to wear. I would basically only ever think about my clothes when I'm trying to impress someone. The guy I passed by in the mall is not one of them. Mga nakatiklop kong damit. Kung ano yung nasa pinakatuktok, ayun lang yung kukunin ko. And my only criteria for clothes was, did it feel comfortable to wear, okay, I like this. It isn't a surprise that, of course, as a performer, fashion is an important factor to consider. I was going to be on stage with a bunch of people looking at me, and it also helps to have a consistent look, sort of like branding to establish yourself, right? And I'm not gonna lie, this was probably one of the roughest parts of of trying to become a proper performer. I did not know what I was doing, and good thing I had like the help of my bandmates and my friends to help me out. Also, my girlfriend helped me out with like choosing what to wear. Syempre, teternohan mo rin yung style and branding of the band itself. So I guess am pretty bad with fashion, but I've gotten better. Para siyang from 5% to 20% at my peak maximum fashion sort of like potential, I guess. I would just wear a shirt and pants to gig nung nagsisimula with the tightest black pants to mankind, slapping on my world balance with any fit I had that day. I have a bunch of shoes now. I used to not really care about my shoe wear as long as they're comfortable. Pero ngayon mas may pakin ako. Thanks to my girlfriend, by the way. She's a big shoe person. With the help of my parents, I didn't have a job at the time. I managed to not make a fool out of myself on stage and actually look pretty decent. Again, I don't think I looked the best, but it isn't that bad anymore. Now that I do have a job, I do allocate some of my money with clothes for fashion, kasi now it's actually pretty fun to look for clothes and to try and look good. It's a pretty fun thing to do na ngayon. Dati kasi nakakatamad para sa akin. I didn't really see the point of it. And then it got to a point where I needed to care. And now I just care because it's pretty fun to look for clothes and shop, This specific part of my life has immensely changed. And I sometimes go out by myself and I still take the time to wear good clothes. Like I actually think about what I'm gonna wear. Younger me would be very shocked. And I guess going out trying to look good by myself is kind of practice for myself as well. And as my girlfriend tells me, I will never know who I might bump into. So I better look my best. So mali mo I randomly meet Luis de los Reyes sa daan. Di mo alam, di ba? Kumakain lang ako ng yabu sa Eastwood. Makita natin si Ann Curtis. I would be lying if I said it's not taxing. I think it's much easier now, the fact that I have money to choose and buy my own clothes. Number three, my body. I am getting fat, most likely because of all of the boba I consume. I used to not care about my body a lot, mainly because I had, as my friend Sean says, the metabolism of a god. What I really cared about mainly is that as long as I was healthy, as long as I was eating my vegetables and eating my protein and eating the right amount of carbs, I didn't really care. I didn't hate my body. With all of the stuff that people have been telling me and all the pictures and videos I've been seeing of myself, I really hate how my body looks right now, specifically right now, which is why I've been trying to fix it. I have been eating less as to maintain a calorie deficit. Wowzers. I'm not sure how well I'm doing though, because I don't really calorie count. I find it a little bit too tedious, although a lot of people do it. It also doesn't help that most of my time working is spent sitting down on the computer inside my house. So there's not much movement right there, And I have been trying to aid this. I've been doing 10K steps every day, which is pretty easy kapag lumalabas kami for a gig kasi I tend to walk a lot. Lalo na kapag magko-commute lang ako. I knock out the 10K steps pretty easily. And I also like walking, Nung nakaraan lang, I went to Eastwood because I was craving yabu. I have the money for that now, to treat myself. Pero I went to Eastwood, nag-commute lang ako, and I just really wanted to eat yabu. And I walked around. It's easy for me because I enjoy it and it's inside an air-conditioned mall. I also like window shopping, clothes, and whatnot. It was much easier back then when I was still in school. Again, I really liked walking, and every day was an opportunity for that. I remember me and my friend Alan, we walked from, I don't know how many times I've said this in the video, pero sasabihin ko pa rin because I'm really proud of it. Naglakad kami from Recto to Santolan. And that's a really proud achievement for both of us. Hindi ko alam kung kailan matutuloy pero pinaplano namin kasi may two new stations sa LRT2 which is Marikina and Antipolo. So hopefully magawa namin. Eventually magagawa namin yan. And I guess it was necessary for me to be outside. And now that I'm working, it's necessary for me to be inside. Honestly, I never really liked the idea of an office job. I would much rather work at like a convenience store or like a cafe, even like fast food. Kasi I like the fact that I'm moving. Recently, I've been listening to a lot of music and podcasts, which is really good. And I've been trying to do 10K steps a day. And luckily for me, I have this safe space dito sa Abin na I can walk. So yeah, if you guys are feeling insecure with whatever sa katawan nyo, with fashion and how you move, some good advice is to take it as constructive criticism. For me kasi talagang kailangan kong ayusin yung pananamit ko, kailangan kong ayusin yung paggalaw ko, kailangan kong ayusin yung katawan ko for health and for the work that I do. And it's something that I know will help me out as well in the future and will make me happy. I'm happier than ever right now na marunong na ako manamit and I know how to use color to my advantage to para ternohan yung damit ko. I know what clothes will fit my body properly and what pants. And I know not to wear the tightest pants in human history. But ang weird nga because when I was in grade school, I was really fat. I had a big belly. And then when high school came, I got really tall and I got super skinny. Now I'm becoming fatter again. I vividly remember kung kailan ako sobrang bumigat. It was when we had the Conrad gig and we had like free breakfasts daily for 5 days, breakfast buffet. Tas minamamo ko talaga. Basically, gising, kain, tulog, trabaho, tas gising, kain. Ganun lang. I didn't do anything and I remember vividly like after that, nung nagtimbang ako, I was like 72, naging 78, 79 ako. Sobrang bumigat ako. I can tell that my belly was much bigger than it used to. I'm working on it, you know. I feel great. Actually, I'm down 2 kilograms from 78. I'm 76 right now. Take it as constructive criticism and try to better yourself. Of course, hindi naman mawawala yung mga taong mga pinagtitripan ka lang. I feel like the more it happens, the easier you'll be able to tell them apart. People who just want to help you be better and people who just want to bring you down. Ang dami ko pang gustong gawing videos, but I'll be more consistent. Okay, peace out. This will be a more chill video. Bye-bye. Mwah. Bye. Peace out.